Joining me today in the conversation is the CEO and Managing Director of Schoolnet India, Mr. RCM Reddy. How he has made Schoolnet India and what was the focus when he left his career of administration and came into the education sector. We'll have a conversation with him. Thank you, Mr. RCM Reddy, for giving us the crucial time of yours, speaking to why this matters on education, which is a topic everyone is talking about these days. But I'm very curious about one thing, which I want to ask. Why did you leave your administration career for education sector, for education system? What was the thought?
Two, three reasons, Harsha. First of all, big thank you very much for reaching out. Also, it's good to know that people of your stature are covering educational subject. That shows the urgency that we collectively as stakeholders need to be looking at in terms of what more can be done to make our education quality oriented, outcome oriented. And why from IAS to school education and IAS to skills? There's two, three elements to this. Firstly, my personal story. Born, brought up in a small village, went to a government school, walking every day 4 kilometers. Studied in local Telugu medium schools, my junior college Telugu medium, did my engineering, then did my masters, got into IAS. So my background of coming from a small rural family, village, struggling for everyday kind of needs, has always remained with me even if after I joined IAS also. So basically, I wanted to, at the core of my heart, I used to think what can be done more to better the conditions of those who are left behind, large number of rural masses. Second is the IAS itself. I served in Tripura for 10, 11 years as an IAS officer, then worked with Ministry of Textiles, then in United Nations Industrial Development Organization. In all these, I have been looking at social sector programs that look at how to improve employability of the youth, how to increase incomes of the farmers, how do you address the problems like insurgency through economic development. So social sector has always been my passion. Given my background, given my social sector work experience in while being in administration, then I thought why not to look at this big challenge of employability, education, employment is so vital for making India's demographic dividend really a dividend, not a disaster.
But Mr. Reddy, you have spent decades in this sector. What worries you still in the Indian education sector?
What worries me still is, I would say, the divide is growing. All right. It could be digital divide. It could be access to the basic infrastructure. I'm sure you would have seen newspapers last 2, 3 days back. There's a protest in Uttar Pradesh asking for what? It's a junior college, 11th and 12th, what they call intermediate. And students have been protesting, asking for fans, asking for benches, asking for decent meal and toilets.
Correct.
From there, you have digital divide. Today, more than 50% of Indian schools, government schools, do not have access to computers, internet. Even if they have, it's patchy, it's inadequate. So both these put together, the kind of quality, while India has addressed the issue related to the access, more number of students go to school. Schooling is not the issue. It is the learning is the issue. So what worries me is that while more and more number of students are going inside the school system, schooling is happening, learning is not happening to the desired level which we would actually expect it to be so that they can become employable when they join the workforce. Education to workforce transition has been a bit of, strategic, operational, tactical level, continues to do a lot more.
But you've seen that still in these schools, whenever the inspection happens, teacher talks more about the inspection officers focus more about midday meals, दाल अच्छी है कि नहीं, चावल अच्छा है कि नहीं, दूध ठीक से आ रहा है कि नहीं. The officials also don't focus on maths का teacher are present था कि नहीं, science का teacher था कि नहीं. The quality of education, which is actually day by day worsening. Do you think that's true?
No, I would say yes, no. because there are a lot of states which are using digital way of teaching learning. They monitor how the students are performing. For example, in Gujarat, we have a program called G Shala, Gujarat Holistic Learning Assessment kind of solution, where every school is connected. Every school, every teacher, every student is on a portal. When the teacher walks into the classroom, teacher is expected to use the content, teach, and also fill the data related to how the students have performed. So sitting in a control room in Gandhinagar, the officials have access to which school is performing better, which teacher is doing better, which students, segments of cohorts of students are not doing better. In fact, the analytics can show that what likelihood of particular cohort of students in a particular school are likely to lag behind or drop out. So corrective action is being taken. So from that side, to you have interiors of the middle India, inside the forests, which do not have access. Basic infrastructure is not there. So that is where maybe probably what you are saying in terms of whether the teachers are able to teach better or not in terms of monitoring them, maybe lagging in some schools, but it's not the case universally. There are excellent examples of the what's happening inside the schools is being monitored. For that, of course, you need to have technology, which is being used in several states. Some states are yet to catch up. I would put it that way.
हम डिजिटल इंडिया की बात करते हैं, प्रधानमंत्री खुद विकसित भारत डिजिटल पे फोकस करते हैं, लेकिन आपको लगता है कि आज भी रूरल सेक्टर में डिजिटल लर्निंग, डिजिटल एजुकेशन अभी भी एक बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर है उनको ट्रेन करने में और सिखाने में, समझाने में, वहाँ तक डिजिटल लर्निंग को इनेबल करने में? आपको लगता है हम अभी हैं, बहुत पीछे हैं?
Absolutely, you are right. As I said, it's uneven. Some states have shown progress, some states do not have. But overall, if you look at the Government of India statistics also, close to about 35-36% of the schools don't have access to internet. They don't have access to the functional computers. And even if they have, it's not adequate. For 1,000 student school, if you have 10 computers, obviously it's not adequate. So there is no doubt about it that country as a whole needs to do a lot more, making access to digital way of teaching learning in the school systems. I would say what we need is that access to high quality digital way of teaching and learning should be universalized. It should not be limited to certain sections of schools, elite schools. It should be universalized. It should be democratized. Like the way you have every school should have functional classrooms and water and sanitation, etc. You should also have a functional digital infrastructure and access to high quality digital content and train the teacher, which means building digital capacity of every school should become universal. It should be, if you look at it, we should have done it long back. We are lagging behind. If you look at the countries like China and European countries, and this is given, every school without exception would have the basic access. So India also should be doing it under NEP, that's a vision, and many states have taken steps in terms of implementing this. Hopefully things will improve near future.
क्या लगता है आपको कि इंडिया ने एनईपी में कोई प्रोग्रेस किया है इस पॉलिसी फ्रेमवर्क के बाद?
Harsha, in NEP, we should understand that has been very recent. Am I right? And there have been a lot of efforts. There are very successful examples of NEP, elements of NEP being implemented. I'll give an example of STEM education, vocational skills in schools. NEP talks about these two areas. And you see large number of state governments are implementing STEM education inside the school systems. AI-related educational modules being introduced. Vocationalization of school education, a big time that is happening. And you are aware of PM Shri schools,
Yes.
schools of excellence, where all these initiatives get converged with the objective of making them sort of schools of excellence. So I would say yes, in several aspects it's being implemented, but as been implemented fully, it's a dynamic exercise. You start somewhere, it's of recent phenomenon. I see large number of states are actually focusing on implementing several elements of NEP. And of course, we have a long distance to go. Obviously, it's a function of resources available both with the states and center.
Mr. Reddy, do you feel that the education spending, government spending on education is lesser than what is the actual target of government spending? 6% was the target, but of the overall GDP, only 4.6% is being spent on education, which is very low.
Very low. Entirely agree with you. In fact, it has been going down. If you look at expenditure on education as a percentage of GDP, it has been going down. And given the challenges, given the need to ensure that youth are prepared for future, we should be spending more. I would even say that
Correct.
bigger percentage of share of GDP should be going to schools and education system. That's an area where I think states and center both need to work, because it is there on education is a concurrent subject, state subject largely. While central government has schemes to do 60-40, 60% central government gives, 40% states give. It is an exercise where both states and center need to work, ensure that larger allocation needs to be done. I would say it's the most important and urgent need. If you don't spend enough resources over next 10 years, the demographic dividend we are talking about, having young children as a percentage of population being very high, all of them will become middle-aged like me and you in 20 years from now. So it's very, very urgent that the governments wake up to this reality, increase the allocation of resources to the school systems. Education is a subject, whether it's schools or higher education or tertiary education, more and more money need to go there.
Mr. Reddy, do you feel that we are only focusing and producing more degree holders than actually solving the major problem of graduate unemployment?
Very true. I entirely agree with you. I think as a country, so we should also look at the reality. As a country, we're obsessed with degrees. You know, if you're not graduate, you don't get a girl to marry. That's a kind of, we are degree obsessed country, no doubt about it. And employability skills as to what exactly the jobs and the industry needs, and how much of those skills are being embedded inside the school system is a question mark. But fortunately, country recognizes that need, and there are a lot of efforts that are going inside. For example, you talked about degrees,
Yes.
and there are skills embedded degree programs that UGC has come up. So you have a degree program of BA history, but you have the opportunity of taking large number of skills courses. Those skills embedded kind of degree programs are there. School systems, vocational skills have been implemented, but has the pendulum shifted to the extent that we want? It is not degree obsession, it is skill obsession. I would say journey has just begun. We have a long way to go, making it less degree focused, more competency based.
And more skill focused as
More
well.
skill focused, more competency based. Skills do not necessarily mean, Harsha, you know, skills when we talk about generally people understand only domain skills.
Yes.
It's not the question of domain skills. It's creativity, it's problem solving skills, it's a teamwork, your ability to interact with your colleagues, everything, and financial literacy, large number of things. I think making individuals employable for a job, or either it is wage employment or it is self-employment. The education system needs to prepare them for that. And now whether we are able to prepare, it is not the question of whether you have a 3-year degree or a certificate. Obviously, any competency requires a certificate. Even if it is skill-based, somebody will have to assess and certify that you have enough skills. So self-proclaimed skills will not have validity. So some amount of certification is bound to be there, whether it is skills or education. But the point is, what is the kind of balance that we are able to achieve between knowledge and skills? Ours is more knowledge-based, less of skills-based. It has to be a nice combination, balance of knowledge and skills, and those oriented towards emerging job market, whether it is self-employment or wage employment. That is where the disconnect that is there between what is taught in schools, what is taught in higher education, tertiary education, the disconnect has to be. So a sort of seamless, I would say seamless education to workforce transition. If you actually design that, then various levels of transition, the marker should be clear. And by the time you reach degree level, your employability or workforce transition should be clear.
But what's more worrying in education sector, sir, is that there's continuously massive expansion in higher education, but still the rate of graduates unemployed is still there, and it's still increasing year by year. It's not being solved.
So it is a sort of, it's also demand and supply issue. If you look at the demand side, you ask any construction company today, what kind of workers they would need? They would need welders, they would need construction workers, site supervisors, and your degree, when we have a degree BBA, BA, BCom, history and all that, these degree candidates are not willing to work in those. So there is a disconnect between the nature of jobs, kind of jobs that are there in the market, and the type of youth, degree holders, diploma holders we are producing. That disconnect is the one that is creating a problem. So otherwise, why is that today the industry complains that they don't get enough employable, skilled manpower, particularly for the trades like what you call the where you work with hand, those kind of professions, they don't get enough people. But you have large number of BBA holders. Industry doesn't need, particularly in the context of AI now, those tasks which are very repetitive, like call center, like doing the proofing or doing basic entry level data entry operators, or even basic analysis, even some of these communication kind of jobs or coding, many of them are under threat. But where is the jobs? Jobs are there in the construction sector, the infrastructure sector, and high-end IT sector. There are the jobs there. So that is the disconnect as I see it.
And Mr. Reddy, I've seen your digital learning program as well, Genio. So according to you, AI right now is the biggest opportunity, or it is a massive threat to the modern education, if we talk about?
No, I would actually be extremely happy with AI because AI for education, you look at the challenge, Harsha. What is the challenge? Today, you have large number of schools. You have almost 15 lakh schools, 1 crore students, 25 crore students, 25 crore students, 1 crore teachers, 15 lakh schools of varying level. A teacher's capacity in interior village and a teacher capacity in a state like Delhi would be very, very varied. And similarly, the status at which the ability of the student in a remote village in bordering Arunachal and say in Delhi, their opportunity and ability of the students to access high quality teaching learning material is also widely varied.
Yes.
That is where technology plays a role. Technology can democratize access to high quality education. So today, most of the teachers and students consume information through some medium or other. Just imagine similar medium is deployed inside a classroom where a teacher is trained to use high quality multimedia digital content on topics that are relevant, on topics that are mapped to the local curriculum, and very engaging way teacher will be in a position to use the teaching learning material, teach those difficult to learn teach topics to the students. Students, same topic, same kind of content, same level of quality is available for Delhi school as well as Arunachal school. Same teacher there also can use, teacher here also can use. So AI and technology will actually empower the teacher, particularly in terms of becoming more empowered, better informed, better educated, better capacity to teach the students. So AI should not be seen as a threat to education. AI should be seen as a tool in the hands of teachers. If used well, will improve the quality of teaching learning inside the classroom.
Till now, how many schools you have reached and enabled this digital learning program, Genio? And also, have you witnessed that teachers are a bit hesitant to learn about AI technology and how AI can improve the outcome of learnings?
So when we are talking about technology, Harsha, there are different levels. There is a basic digital infrastructure where there is a standard kind of videos that are there, teaching learning material which teachers are trying to use it. Next comes the AI adoption. AI in education is a very recent phenomenon.
Yes.
It's not necessarily that every school in India is using AI at this point of time, but eventually will be using it to improve their own tasks and improve their own efficiency. When we introduce a basic level of digital way of teaching learning inside the school, you are very right. Teachers hesitate in terms of using it. Even the touching computer.
Are they worried that they will lose their jobs?
That's not the case. I have not come across anywhere where the teacher is saying because of introduction of digital way of teaching learning inside the school, they would lose the job. They would actually be extremely happy because now they say, firstly, there is something called self-esteem. You are a government school teacher. You don't have any functional computer. You don't have any smart device. You don't use digital content. Opposite your school, there is a so-called private school which boasts of using a lot of this, digital English medium, etc. This teacher, government school teacher, is very eager, more than happy to use any of the tools that are made available. But the challenge is we need to make the teacher at the center of this digital transformation. Train the teacher. Don't bypass the teacher. So when teacher is there, and if you focus on building the capacity of the teacher to use digital tools, they respond very well. Will they overwhelmingly accept on the day one? Probably no, because they are all used to writing on board with the sort of textbook open and chalk and board. But the way that they teach, if it is intelligently integrated into digital way of teaching learning, acceptability is very high. And the change management therefore becomes important. Training of them becomes important. You have seen our solution
Yes.
where we believe in ecosystem approach. This is another problem of when we talk about edtech in schools or colleges. Very often we tend to limit it to distribution of some hardware. I think hardware distribution alone does not lead to improved, better learning outcomes.
You need a proper system.
It has to be ecosystem.
Correct.
That ecosystem includes a device, appropriate device, appropriate digital content, grade level, appropriate to the board, map to the textbook, syllabus, map to the competencies. Train the teacher in using the digital content which is inside those devices to students. Training, analytics and monitoring, and also measuring the impact. When this intervention was initiated in year one, what was the status of enrollments, to engagement, to performance of the students and teacher? Year one, year two, year three, what is the performance? This documentation, the evidence of the impact is also very useful. The moment you document, then other school teachers also will see, oh, this school has been able to do very well. This has been improvement in marks, improvement in 1, 2, 3, 4 things. So let's also do it. This is what we do in Schoolnet. We adopt ecosystem approach for edtech inside the school systems. We have a very, very innovative all-in-one KYAN. K stands for knowledge, YAN is vehicle. It's a combined projector, computer. It converts any wall space into smart board. You don't require any other device, mobile. It can go from classroom to classroom. And content is embedded inside the KYAN so that even if there is no internet, teacher will be able to use it. So we have designed the entire solution and we train the teacher. We have designed the entire solution for under-resourced school environment, under-resourced in terms of lack of significant funds and lack of high-quality internet access and limited availability of the classrooms because they can't just make every classroom into a digital classroom. Therefore, our KYAN, along with digital content teacher training, what we call it Genio ecosystem, has been found to be extremely useful. So we need to design. That brings it to the next topic of when we talk about digital interventions, the design is very important. And it cannot be supply driven. And a lot of people have a lot of gadgets, a lot of software. Everybody tries to push into that. But what is required is what is appropriate to that particular cohort of those students, of those teachers living that geography, that appropriateness, keeping in mind that one has to design the system. That system has to be ecosystem, keeping the teacher at the center of the action and not just hardware play.
What I witnessed largely, all the elite private institutions, they adapt to this AI driven tools, their adaptability as compared to the rural and urban sector schools is far better. How will this AI driven tools will reach to the rural and urban sector? I think that's very important task, and the target is set, but the deliverable and how we are going to achieve it, that's going to be a humongous challenge.
Yeah, that is where I talked about right in the beginning. We need to ensure, say, AI is another tool in the hands of teacher. That's how I look at it, all right? So, if you have to use any technology, including AI, there have to be sufficient conditions conducive inside the school system to use. When you said a Delhi school will be able to use it, it has all the elements that are required conducive. In a village school, for interiors do not have. So therefore, making this what we call, I would even go to the extent of making it almost like one of the rights-based approach is required for digital education inside the school. We should ensure that every school in India would have access to minimum level of digital teaching learning ecosystem. What do I mean by that? It has to have sufficient digital infrastructure, the hardware and content, internet access, train the teachers, and sufficient oversight. The moment you have that ecosystem, then it will the divide that you have will gradually reduce. I'm happy to see a lot of states are adopting that. For example, Delhi government today, every school they want to create sufficient kind of conducive environment so that AI can be used. So is the case schools in Jharkhand. In Jharkhand, state like Jharkhand, which we normally think Jharkhand is not associated with great development in
Yes.
education technology, you will be very surprised to see Jharkhand government has actually has a mission where every school today uses technology. Every school means every teacher. Every teacher uses technology to teach difficult to learn topics better. Their effectiveness of teaching, learning is documented, is analyzed, and corrective action is taken. So states are progressing in terms of doing it. It's a question of time before every school has sufficient. If you don't do it, you are actually failing large number of students. The digital divide will continue to grow.
But these days we see, millennials, Gen Zs, alphas, they all are adapting to the AI driven technology, let's say Chat GPT or other platforms as well. But once, the seniors, the elders, let's say in my house also, my father would feel very difficult to adapt to this new tool. So you think that in teachers also, adaptability is a challenge?
It will be challenged. This is a all said and done, anything new being introduced inside a school, they have been traditionally be teaching in particular way. Suddenly you tell, look, can you use this technology tool? And then can you start using this, create your own lesson plans and create your own homework assessments and start using it? Obviously, there will be resistance. But there are examples, there are pilots at scale, not just pilots, where AI has been introduced inside the government school systems. Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh, many of these states, and took some time for training of these teachers. Once they understand the benefits of this, they start using it. Answer to your question is that the key, the solution here, Harsha, is a change management.
Yes.
We need to be working patiently with the teachers in terms of making them more competent in using tech. Coming to AI is generally used. AI does not mean using one of these tools like ChatGPT. AI in a classroom can be used by teacher to create a lesson plan.
Yes.
All right. To create homework. The moment they see these applications of AI in terms of their day-to-day work, then they will think that their task, their life is becoming simple and easy. Then they start using it. So it's a question of demystifying the AI. Demystification of AI is very, very important. Contextualizing use of AI inside a classroom in the hands of teacher, engagement between the teacher and student is the key. The moment you demystify, contextualize, and adoption will go up.
I was very much surprised when I saw recently the data of MOSPI, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. They have stated that the unemployment rate in our country is stable. It is 3.1%. And when we researched the entire document, we found out, yes, the the data of unemployment is stable. It's at 3 to 4%. But we saw that the educated youth unemployment, it's high. Only 40 to 50% graduates are employed. Rest don't know what they are doing, or they still are searching for jobs. They are not getting it. Parents have investment almost 30 to 35 lakhs in their education, and they still ask to their kids, beta job lagi kya? And children just are still searching because companies are stating skill nahi hai, correct candidate नहीं मिल रहे हैं, बच्चे कह रहे हैं कि jobs नहीं मिल रही हैं. This is a major problem in our education sector, Mr. Reddy. How will this be solved?
So, as I was saying, Harsha, is that the nature of courses need to undergo change. All right. Tell me, BA history in one degree college somewhere. I am not demeaning the liberal arts. You need to have. But if you study BA history in one of the schools, 200 students pass out. Where do you find jobs which actually meet them? Obviously, they will end up looking for various other jobs.
Yes.
Those jobs are not there. So, therefore, how do you actually match this demand and supply? So, where the jobs are there, what kind of jobs? Are we teaching similar kind of skills, similar kind of courses to the students? The moment this matching is done, the problem you are talking about, the lack of adequate jobs for the graduates, that will go down. I'm not saying the unemployment will vanish overnight. but at least that gap gets reduced. You'll be very happy to know some of these initiatives like we do. We launched a program called GEET, Graduate Employability Enhancement Training.
Geet.
Absolutely, what you are talking about address the same problem. We work with the final year students of degree colleges, and we teach them employability skills of basic, the digital skills, English, interview preparedness, one domain related banking, finance, etc. Then we organize interviews for them. They get recruited in the banks, insurance companies, banks, many of the financial services, sales, marketing, job roles. They get salaries are go to as high as 30-35,000, minimum of 20-24,000 with this intervention. So connecting the job market with the education system is also very important.
Yes.
Somewhere this connection is also
Missing.
So this program I talked about, Graduate Employability Enhancement Training, will be doing about 25,000 graduates next 2 years training. This is funded by Infosys Foundation and jointly with an NGO called You Are Unstoppable and Schoolnet Group. We are implementing this program and precisely to address this missing skills that will make them employable in the job market.
Have you spoken or reached out to the states also, the ministers also, to implement and to focus on this particular reform you're speaking about, Geet?
So, yes, without the state government support, without the central government support, you can't have access. We work with the state governments, we take their approval. We have a large number of private colleges as well. It's not necessarily the government. The difference between a government and a private college is also reducing, you see. And when you say private college, a large number of not so high quality colleges where the students go. And so is the case, the large number of government colleges. We work with both. We take the state governments on board with their consent. We get into the colleges. We work with their heads of departments, placement cells, and we put all this. We identify jobs. So another issue here is that why is that today the mismatch between jobs and education system is there, that education to employment, this highway I would call it, is broken.
It's broken, yes.
So you have jobs somewhere, you have students somewhere, and there is no efficient way of connecting them.
There's no bridge.
So what we are doing through our skill development programs, first we identify jobs. Which employer, how many jobs you have, where do you need, when do you need. Then go to the colleges, go to the schools, go to the out of school, out of college students, community, tell them where the jobs are, how much salary it gets, whether they have working women's hostel, and what is the kind of career progression. We educate them. Once they decide, okay, this salary level, this location looks like good for me, then we start the training. Training varies from 3 months to 1.5 years, depending upon whether certificate or diploma or degree. And we train, since we knew the jobs, we train them exactly as per the competencies, they get placed. After that, we track and assist them even on the post-placement. So almost 80% is our placement rate today. And more than 2/3 of them continue to be in jobs. Of course, many of them are blue collar and gray collar jobs.
Yes.
When it comes to gray and white collar, the program I talked about, the GEET, of working with the degree colleges and the job market is the one.
Mr. Reddy, according to you, what are those 5 most important skills every Indian student needs to have or needs to develop by 2035?
I would first of all say empathy.
Empathy.
Empathy is a very, very understated skill. Very important job market to have empathy. And second is your problem solving. So today, today's generation kids are highly protected. We have a lot of those. When I have a little bit of problem, and how do you actually solve? So first I would say empathy, problem solving, critical thinking, and a community focus. Being a responsible citizen is very, very important skill. And of course, the usual, the English and digital literacy and all that stuff. Digital skill goes without saying. But I would put empathy, the other quality, other soft skills at the core of skills required than the domain skills. Domain skills people learn, but soft skills will make you better citizen, better student. You are open to your new ideas. You are willing to work with the community, your colleagues. So they are the most important skills.
What I've seen recently is that when I started my first job, we have the ability of risk taking, but we were never so courageous to speak unfiltered, to speak what comes to our mind to any manager or any senior. But the youngsters which are coming up now, they're very unfiltered. Do you see this as a very good ability, as a nice thing they have, which I think when we started our job we never had?
I think it's very good. Speaking your mind is always good. So, when you started your job, I started your job, parents told you to go and do it, we joined, right? Or the peer pressure. Today, students have their own mind. This generation have their own mind. For example, my sons, I wanted them to be engineers, but they said they got into liberal arts and law and all that stuff. So, they have their own mind. Having own mind, ability to speak their mind, having a perspective, I would say is always better than being compliant to somebody's advice. So it's a good, but how do you harness that? How do you harness this openness, frankness, ability to speak their mind of generation needs to be harnessed into more productive uses. That more productive use could be, as I say, of looking at what they are going to do when they are 18 or 24. Will they be self-employed? Will they be wage employed? And what kind of skills are, like today you are a journalist. Today entire the creative economy, content economy is a big employer. How many schools, how many colleges actually teach on the content, on media or creative
Very
industry?
very few.
That's where I think I would say the new generation's ability to speak their mind actually good for the society as a whole. The moment you are able to speak, express yourself freely, and that's why I mentioned what are the skills required. Empathy. You need to, other person should empathize what you are saying. If you are blindfolded, you are not open to what the other perspective, then even if you speak openly, doesn't really cut the ice.
Let's say hypothetically you have rupees 10,000 crore tomorrow and you have to spend and transform the education sector. Where will you spend your first rupee?
Without any hesitation, I would say the first rupee should be spent on building the capacity of the teacher. Teacher is the center. All of us grew up. One person whom we remember, 9 out of 10 would credit their success to a teacher. Am I right? Parents, of course, are their teacher. If I have to spend money in education system, I would spend first rupee on the teacher.
What is that one education policy decision India has delayed for too long?
Universalization of access to digital way of teaching learning. And we're still far behind. The rest of the world have made digital access as a precondition, not, I wouldn't say precondition, as a necessary condition in an efficient schooling system. India has delayed and continue to delay of this, ensuring that every school would have access to high quality ecosystem of digital way of teaching learning.
Today we have also got, attained and acquired a lot of knowledge segment from this entire conversation. Thank you, Mr. Reddy. It was
Thank you so
it was
much.
a great conversation with you.
Thank you.
So this is Mr. RCM Reddy in conversation with Why This Matters. We have brought you at length. This is the knowledge series we had with Mr. Reddy today to tell you that how education system and the reforms matters in today's policy decisions which are being formulated and made by government. Because at Why This Matters, we tell you that every student matters, higher education matters, education system matters, and therefore why this matters.